Welcome to the after party. Welcome to the after party. Did you bring some snacks and treats?
Yes, it did.
I hope you got me something to eat.
Maybe.
Welcome to the after party. Coming to the after party.
Right now.
I've been waiting here all day to act like a fool this way. Welcome to the after party. Join us in the after party.
Right now.
Oh,
Anybody want to know what I...
chocolate and dabbing, maybe some microphone dabbing at the after party.
With DJ Airrick, Paige.
What were you playing in the background? I heard that. What were you playing in the background?
I didn't play any. It was you. I heard it.
No, I heard something in the background.
Oh my god, you talk so much shit.
Always doing something. Anyway. Oh, it's like every time I adjust. So my camera software updated, I guess, overnight. And I came in and I started my camera. And now my lighting is off. And I have two really good lights right here in front of me. And it's like, it isn't picking it up. I don't understand.
Yeah, you look like a Oompa Loompa.
Yeah, I don't know why. Look, I've got this. This is one of my lights here. So let me change this one.
Flex.
So, is it really? Let's go for like a different color. We'll do like a soft white light. That helps a little bit. I don't know. It's a mess. Everything's a mess. This week has been crazy. Absolutely crazy. Anyway, welcome to the stream, everybody. Look, Paige, I don't even have background music playing. That is... What is happening?
Isn't that a good thing?
No, I hate dead air. Dead air triggers me. Like as a DJ, you get triggered because when the music stops or there's no sound, that typically means something has gone awry. Something has gone wrong. And your entire set is messed up because of that. So
well, I know you are easily triggered, so
easily, maybe not. I think you're the one that's always triggered, but I mean, who's keeping track?
Oh, interesting.
Who's keeping track? Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I've got a scoreboard. Paige's been triggered about 347 times since we started doing this. So here's the deal. This is a really good time to bring this up. I have not mentioned this in the green room, but I did mention it to Paigey. The Weekly Geekly is returning. With farts. The Weekly Geekly is returning.
Weekly Chickly.
Well, the thing is, I tried to do that open bar thing, and that was a complete disaster because the issue with that was YouTube didn't like the idea of open bar. So that was like one episode done. All the graphics, all the stuff that I set up for that, completely gone. So that's no longer a thing. So no more open bar. And so I'm like, the Weekly Geekly was the group podcast typically where everybody came on. And so I want to bring that back because as you can see in the chat, Paigey, everyone is excited about the Weekly Geekly returning. So it will be coming back. I probably will do the first episode of the Weekly Geekly when The Boys comes on. So that week will be the first week of that podcast. So if you want to watch that, it will be on the Eric's Reloaded channel, and it's going to be pretty much open door policy for everybody in the green room. If you guys don't know, I have like a green room where there's like 10 or 12 people. I'm skipping 11, 10 or 12 people that I drop the link for and then come on. So yeah, my brother is in that now, and I added him specifically because I was bringing the Weekly Geekly back. This is something I've been thinking about for a while. So that's going to be coming back, and you'll see everybody again, whoever can make it. So hey, Lance, I might do it after Party Nation. So you might be the pre-party to the Weekly Geekly. I don't know. We'll see. Exciting times. Anyway, so Paigey, have you been watching anything this week? Let's start out by that. Are you watching anything currently on television? What's happening with you?
No. Oh no. Well, no. Well, that's a lie. Straight out of the gate. Mainly because I thought you might bring it up. I was like, well, I'll see, because the premise sounded somewhat interesting, and I thought I'll give it a go. See if I want to continue. But I did watch the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte last night.
Okay, so you did watch it.
Yeah. I watched it like.
Right. We're going to talk about that in a moment, and I guess you can give your thoughts on it. But there's a couple things I do want to talk about when it comes to the Acolyte. We'll get there. But outside of that, did you watch Sweet Tooth yet? I think the new season dropped.
Oh no, I didn't watch, because I haven't watched it. I think I watched like the first 2 or 3 episodes of season 1, and I think at that point maybe there was other stuff coming out and I got sidetracked.
So do you not like it?
Is that what it is, or well, it's just that it wasn't enough to keep me going. He didn't like grip me, like, oh my god. But I saw that season 3 came out, but I hadn't seen one piece of anything on social media saying it was coming out. I just saw like, I think it was like, it might have been a tweet or like in like the For You thing. That
feels like they're just kind of dumping that season on. And I mean, are we going to get any more of that, or is that it?
Well, I'm assuming that maybe just like, but then again, usually at least tell people that you have a show coming out, especially if it's something like that.
Is anybody in the chat watching Sweet Tooth? I'm curious if anybody's watching that show, because I will say earlier we had debated on whether we wanted to start the new season because we haven't started watching it yet. And I was like, nobody's really talking about it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see any hashtags on social media. Nobody has mentioned it on any of my videos. Like, hey, are you going to watch that or whatever? Like, no one is watching it. And it's a good series. I just don't think there's something about it that is disconnected from like the comic book community, which is a little weird. So Darren says I love Sweet Tooth. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So we're gonna watch it this week. But we'll see. I will say this, Sandman is coming back soon. I believe the next season of that's coming back, and I really like the first season of that. So I'm super excited for Sandman returning. What is that Batman animated thing coming out? Caped Crusader or whatever it is? Is that supposed to come out this year?
I don't know. I think people start getting excited for it after they release. Like it got revealed it's like set in the 40s, and I don't know. Maybe people just like assume that maybe it was going to be like attached to the animated series. I don't know, but
yeah,
I think that comes out. I mean, it has to come out somewhat soon. Like probably like August or something, maybe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I talked about this a while back. I really enjoyed Dead Boy Detectives. I actually think Dead Boy Detectives was a lot more fun than Sweet Tooth. I don't want to compare them directly, but I had a lot more fun with that series. Did you watch Dead Boy Detectives? I don't remember if you did or you didn't.
No.
Okay. It's very CW but elevated. You know what I mean? Like it's got like a long mystery for the whole season, but then each episode is like a little mini mystery. Scott says, I didn't realize there was a new season. I enjoyed the previous ones of Sweet Tooth. Darren loves Sweet Tooth. Yeah. Defunct. Haven't really finished season 2, but yeah, I was watching. I don't know. Feels a little weird that we're in an era where the studios keep complaining they're not making any money on stuff, and then they just don't promote anything. It's almost like everything has to be grassroots, fan-driven promotions anymore. And then you look back last year, what were the biggest movies last year? It was Barbie and Oppenheimer, and they did a amazing promotional campaign for those movies, and it paid off. But it's like, where is that promotional energy for anything else? I think the closest thing we have is Deadpool and Wolverine in terms of like a real promotional campaign. No one is promoting anything anymore. Dropping a trailer is not promoting. Putting out art on social media isn't really promoting. You have to attack social media in a different way now.
Yeah.
That's my,
it's a mix, because it's an issue of well, you can't just live off putting stuff in the theater, like a trailer alongside stuff in the theaters, because no one's going. Yeah. So like, not going to see the trailer there, and then less and less and less people are watching network TV, so ads on TV aren't working as effectively, or people just don't watch the ads, their brain turns off. Or if they watch something that's a network show, they watch it on the streaming service it's attached to once it comes out there. They don't watch it on the actual network and don't get the ads.
I just don't get it. I do not get it.
And
I
the
think
thing, well, one of the biggest issues is that, like, I think they spend a lot of money on like going to influencers and saying like, "Oh, advertise this," but like, I think there's a really good track record that says that doesn't work. That like the return on investment there is
saying, "Hey, I'm going to throw you money, and you talk about whatever it is that we're doing."
yeah. Well, I think the main thing is because like if it's obvious you're getting paid to talk about it, people aren't going to trust your judgment.
Mhm.
They're gonna be like, "We're just saying this because the movie's good." Like I saw.
It's true, 100%.
I think it was for the Garfield movie, and it was some dude in his mid-20s, not without no kids, just going like, "Oh my god, I was blown away by." No, you fucking weren't. As if you were. Get a grip.
So Batman apparently comes out on Prime August 1st. Thank you, Devin. I'm gonna watch that as well. I will say this: I look at my YouTube analytics a lot because I like to keep up with what people are wanting to watch and what they don't want to watch. I don't know if it's because of the drop off in promotion, but a lot of people, and Paige, we know this because of the whole doing Arrowverse reviews for over a decade. You go through these like ups and downs throughout the season where some episodes you get a lot of views on like a review, and then some episodes it's a lot lower. But the drop off from my review of My Adventures with Superman episodes 1 and 2 to episode 3 was pretty drastic, and I don't know if it's YouTube not promoting it or if it's a general disinterest in the series. I can't figure it out because it's such a steep decline that it doesn't make sense, like numbers wise, that it would drop off that hard unless people are just not watching it like right away. They're waiting and watching it like a week later, or
I think it's more that nowadays people just, there's certain shows where it's just like whatever, like I don't need a review to listen to. Like that was the thing with like it, whether it was like the Flash or Arrow or whatever, or even like something like I think Agents of Shield used to do it decently well. I think at least in like the first half of its run was that people weren't necessarily watching in to go, well, I need like a breakdown of this thing exactly, but it was more to play into like the narrative of the season, like the mysteries and stuff like that, or just like a general reaction and stuff. But like I think now it's like I don't know whether it is with TikTok and stuff like that, and you know people won't sit down and watch a 8 to 15 minute review, but they can watch a 20-second like, oh, I thought it was good. So yeah. Like
well, TikTok, the other thing is My Adventure with Superman are 20-minute episodes. So, if somebody does a review of the episode, it's most likely going to be at least half the length of the episode. If you're really going to talk about like there was this character, there's this storyline they're setting up, there's all these things. So a lot of people are like, let me look at the length of the episode versus the reviews of the episode. And some people are like, I'm not going to sit through a review that is 60% the length of the episode. You know what I mean? They're not going to. So,
but also I think maybe like the difference between that is that probably people would just watch the video to say, oh, okay, what's the new season like? Yeah, but they're probably not watching it. Or then like, I mean, it was even with anything. Like if you're watching an episode, like I'm sure you're watching it like, oh, people probably aren't going to watch the video for this one because this episode's just whatever.
Yeah,
like it's going to be like something big.
I'm going to keep doing them strictly because when I'm committing to stuff, I want to follow through with it. You know, that's how I was with a lot of stuff when it comes to Arrowverse, except for Legends. I just couldn't, but I'm enjoying My Adventures with Superman. So it doesn't bother me that it's getting lower views than normal, but I'm just curious what it is. And we have a couple comments here. Malcorp says, YouTube is barely recommending me your My Adventures with Superman video, which is weird because the first video did really well. So that's how YouTube usually sets up. Like if you put something on a playlist, they typically look at the tags, and if the tags are the same, they go, okay, well, people like that other video, so we're going to recommend this video. And that didn't happen. So that's a little strange. And then Gwendolyn here says, I saw that too. I wonder why episode 3 didn't get any views. And I'm wondering if it's because like with that show, Defunct here says, I'm not necessarily watching My Adventure with Superman the day it comes out, and my reviews are going up the very next day. So I'm wondering if I'm just missing that sweet spot where people are clicking in and watching it, or like you said, it's a show that people just aren't invested in that. But I'm going to finish it out, and I'm really excited because, like I said, with this month, I'll be doing reviews on The Boys as well, and possibly House of Dragon. My Acolyte review came out. Now that's another interesting one, and this is a good time to talk about the Acolyte because there's a lot of drama online about that right now. But it seems like YouTube is participating in a lot of ways more egregiously recently when it comes to promoting a negative video versus a positive video, because there's a lot of positive reactions to Acolyte out there, but none of them are coming up in the search features. Like when I search Acolyte, none of the channels that I know that like Star Wars, that like talking about Star Wars, none of them are showing up at the top because all of the negative channels are taking up those slots when you search for it. Because I enjoyed the first 2 episodes and I made a video about it talking about how I thought it was kind of a fresh take on Star Wars. I like that there's no baggage to the series. You don't have, like, you can literally step into this without any prior knowledge of anything that Star Wars has done. And I don't know if any of the other projects have been that way. If you look at Ahsoka, like, even if you were stepping into it for the first time, there's still a lot of Easter eggs and lore that show you benefited from watching that. Obi-Wan, obviously, Boba Fett, even into some degrees, The Mandalorian had some injections of things you had to know. Andor, you had to know stuff to watch. So I don't think there's been any Star Wars stuff that's come out on Disney Plus that's been totally disconnected from the show like this one is. It's kind of like an entry into the Star Wars universe if you really want to like start watching it right away. What did you think of it? Well, you watched the first 2 episodes. What are your overall thoughts for Acolyte?
It's, I don't know. I just thought it was whatever. Like, but that sort of like plays into the confusion I see on, like, into my confusion online, and it's just this whole thing where people either had to like glaze it or they're just saying it's like it's ruined Star Wars and stuff. And like, I think it's fine. It's fine to admit that something is just mid when it comes out, but it's mid enough where you will continue watching. You know, it's not insulting enough where you're like, I'm never watching this again. It's like, you know what? It's whatever, but it's, you know, I'm somewhat interested with this. I might not watch it as soon as it comes out, but I'll watch it on the weekend. Right. I want to have some spare time or something. Yeah,
that's an actual fair
take. I was sort of bored when watching it. I don't think it's that exciting. I don't think the acting's necessarily like it. I don't like any of the characters. Does that make any sense? Because like none of them are that exciting.
It's subjective. I mean, if you don't like the characters, you don't like the characters. I can't really like this.
That's the only
really
thing
hard to quantify why.
But that's spoiling it. They did go down like, I don't know, they did a bit of a cliche. I'm like, oh. But then again, I'm that's sort of because it's a cliche. I'm like, will they break through the cliche wall in later episodes later in the season? Which is why I'm like, okay, well, that might be of interest. But I did notice this. I don't know if you caught it. It seems like they're definitely trying to make it feel like the prequels. You
mean in like the visual styles and everything?
Visual, and even the editing and even the music. It sounded like the prequels, which I guess maybe that's the fan base they're going, like the age group they're going for.
I mean, that would be the age group that you should be targeting, I think. Is
like I'm in that age group. Like I grew up with the Like I was like 6 or 7 when the first one came out.
When something is like mid to good, it makes it really easy to go and say mid to bad. You know what I mean? Like to go in and go, oh, like I don't want to say it's just okay, or that I'll watch it when I get to it kind of thing. I'm going to go the other direction and really nitpick the stuff that is easily just like a subjective, like you said that you don't really like any of the characters or whatever. Or
well, that's the thing. I don't dislike any of the characters, but none of them make me go, oh, I can't wait to see what that character does.
But do you see how that could easily be flipped around into this is why the show is bad? Because I don't.
100%. Or you could just say like, look, the show fails to grip me to any character. I'm like, well, it's an ensemble cast. There's no clear lead either. Like,
so I actually think that I don't necessarily blame the people that are tuning into stuff where people are being negative about. I mean, I don't think all the blame falls there. I think YouTube really needs to adjust how they put content out, because right now the algorithm for a lot of things, the way it functions is fine. For example, if a lot of people are searching for a trailer, typically it's going to pull up stuff related to that trailer. In that regard, it's fine. But I think they need to curate their search a little bit more so that like when I look up the Acolyte, I get the trailer and then I get woke. You know what I mean? Like I think that's a bit much. And I think the pipeline to that from a lot of people has been pretty egregious recently, because all they're doing is copying the tags from a lot of these videos and then putting them in their tag section. And so they just ride that wave to the top. And then there's no diversity of like viewpoints under the trailers. And I've talked about this a lot, because I don't necessarily think YouTube should get rid, like it would be very hard for them to justify getting rid of every channel because of a criticism. You know what I mean? Like going through and going, oh, that person doesn't like anything that Star Wars makes, and they're making videos about it. Let's just get rid of that channel. I don't think that's a realistic goal. I think the goal should be to make sure that the search feature doesn't just pull up that kind of content anytime somebody looks stuff up. That has been my stance for a very long time, is if somebody's not breaking YouTube's terms of service, and YouTube is being fair about the way they're handling, what's a big if, then they need to be better about the way the algorithm promotes content, because they become complicit in a lot of what's happening. Because I've seen a lot of people that love Star Wars. Like I've said this even in my review, I'm not like this super like deep, like I don't know everything there is to know about Star Wars. I like to watch Star Wars, I like to be entertained by Star Wars, but that's it. I'm not looking for any deeper meaning from those movies and TV shows. And I guess some people are. I'm not one of those people. Like Omega, he's not here now, but Omega knows so much about Star Wars. When I talk with him, he will reveal a bunch of things where I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. And that's cool. But I think that there's this issue where everyone thinks that, or at least a lot of the fandom is so upset that not everything caters to the same group. Because if you look at Star Wars fans, there's like, okay, these are all Star Wars fans, but not all of them are looking for the same thing. And I guess a lot of people believe that Star Wars should only cater to one specific type of fan. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, well, there's no what, like, yeah, like I know what you mean, like where some people think it's just, oh, it's
right.
It's like it's like going to an ice cream shop and just, we only sell vanilla. It's like, hold on, I wouldn't mind some.
I think you have to offer stuff for the people that want to see the more detailed, narrative-driven, lore-driven Star Wars things, but you also should be able to offer more action-heavy, less serious, less dark content for the people that love Star Wars that don't want to see that kind of stuff. Because Star Wars as an IP is massive. We're talking about a world where you could just, infinitely introduce new characters and new things into Star Wars. And it's okay to have a show that is more silly and funny, like more of like a family-friendly Star Wars series, but also still have the stuff like Andor, still have the stuff like, Rogue One, things like that. I think it's okay. But I see a lot of general Star Wars fans in the community not wanting to talk about it online because they have to deal with that kind of stuff. Because the people that feel that way aren't comfortable staying in their own little echo chambers. They need to go out and make sure that everyone else that loves Star Wars also hates it as much as they do. And I think that's a big difference, because I don't want to change anybody's mind. If you don't like Acolyte and you don't want to watch it and you find it's mid and you're not going to, whatever your thing is, I don't feel the need to convince you that it's the best thing Star Wars has ever done. I don't have to do that. I can simply just go and talk to other people who feel the same way I do, and we can talk about it. I don't need you to feel that way. But there seems to be this effort from the people that don't like Star Wars to bring it down for everybody across the board. And this whole thing like Star Wars is dead. No, you don't like Star Wars anymore. That doesn't mean Star Wars is dead. You just don't like the stuff they're making now. Or you do like it, but you're incentivized by your community or whatever to continue to hate it. And it reminds me a lot of the whole Zack Snyder DC stuff, with this whole James Gunn thing, where there are people that really like that Zack Snyder era of DC movies, but they don't want anybody to get something that they actually like from DC. They want the DCU to fail, not because they necessarily think it's going to be bad, not because they necessarily aren't going to like any of the stuff coming out from it, but because they don't like it. They don't think anybody else should get something else, out of that universe. And DC, just like Star Wars, can create an infinite amount of stories. Is that fair to say? I mean, I feel like DC and Marvel and all these companies, you can just create as much as you want because the foundation is already there.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know. It's the whole. I I think one of the biggest issues is that like people look like are just constantly looking deeper down for a reason something doesn't work or that it does work and everything like that. And like it's just going to be that simple thing where, well, obviously art is subjective across the board, whether it's film, TV, music,
Mhm.
Eric's dance moves. Like, even though I think most people are pretty objective on those
Right,
dance
right.
moves, pretty shit. Don't
They're
give us
not.
an example.
I can do.
but
I
don't
can
know.
do. You want me to do one of my favorite dance moves right over here, right now?
Well, is your ankle okay? If you don't know Eric's
Do the
doing a
gritty. Oh,
pothole.
actually, I couldn't do the gritty because my ankle's messed up. I could chalk
Yeah.
though. I could do it right now. I can stand up and chalk right. Never mind. We'll not do that.
No, well, you got to be wearing pants first. That would help. So definitely don't. I don't know. People just looking for like a deeper reasoning why something is good or something isn't good, or why something's succeeding or why something's failing. And like sometimes shit just happens, and like on either end, and like just because something's mid, it's not mid because of this. Or
If
mid
anything,
because of
it's
that.
the death of mid movies. It's the death of just good stuff. Like you can't.
No, well, you know what it is.
It's either perfect or it's bad. That's
It's
the only
it's the world of like where everyone's a critic, and it's just like people just can't sit down and enjoy something. Like I'm not that into Star Wars. Like I think I finished I don't know if I even watched all the episodes.
like
of
you're not going to
Ahsoka.
die on a hill about your opinion on Star Wars because
No, like, and I would say don't even really take my opinion too much on Star Wars, at least in regards to like whether like this makes sense or that doesn't make sense. Like I saw people blowing up about the fire thing.
you heard
and
it
like,
here, KG. Disregard his opinion on everything.
no, when it comes to like just like that type of stuff, like the lore aspects, like I'm not going to give you that much of an opinion on like what's the coolest lightsaber. I'm like, I don't know, or whether it makes sense.
The
When
one
someone
on
has
the Flash.
a pink lightsaber or
was
something
the
like
best
that.
one. The coolest one was on the Flash.
But like when I watched Acolyte, I'm like, I think it's just an okay made TV show, but it's nothing that's like outstanding on the bad or the good side,
No,
to
I
the
get
point
that.
where I'm seeing this big war over it. I'm like, I mean, if it's fine for something to be okay, especially when it's a TV show and you've got, I don't know how many episodes are left of this, but I'm assuming we're probably at like a third.
It's
or
either 8 or 10. It's either 8.
Yeah,
or 10.
well, yeah, like there's even more. So there's still a bunch of the majority of the episodes left, obviously. You know, they can nail it. Like I'm fine with the TV show being mid for the first half and then nailing its back half. If that's the case, but like, yeah, I'd recommend that TV show. Like it kills it at the end. In a good
So,
way.
Dardson, this is kind of where I've been in this space for a minute. We've been talking about this for probably a couple years now. Is the reason why so many things get canceled or not renewed or whatever is because the culture of awful and amazing has sort of driven studios to also kind of look at things that way because we've created that environment. And people say, why are there no more, why are the mid-budget movies going straight to Netflix or straight to Prime or whatever? Why are the theaters not making mid-budget movies anymore? Because there is a symbiotic relationship between consumers and studios. And whether it be like them, like the studios not understanding how to market that kind of film or those kinds of shows to people, or is it the consumers rejecting that? Like whatever that is, however it's happened, it has definitely impacted like the habits of how people view media. So it's kind of like a cycle of issues, I guess. I mean, I don't think anybody has the exact answer. That's just kind of me sort of throwing that out. So where's it at here? Okay, so Shane said it's 8 episodes. So we've got just
6 left.
Yeah, because the third one comes out this week. Right? My cat is like over here distracting me. He's up here. I put this little tower next to the desk because they were always walking in front of me.
I'm sure that won't fall over.
So look, see him there in the corner.
At least we know that he admitted to setting it up himself when it falls over the computer desk, knocking his Dr. Pepper over.
Yeah, all over the place. Anyway, we're going to move on from this, but I think let's just the criticism I'm seeing of this page. I don't know if you've seen these, but I'm going to name these for you. Tell me how ridiculous this is, because these are the criticisms of the current Star Wars show. And I'm going to name 4 of them. And keep in mind, anybody who's new to my channel or, that started watching me more recently, Paige and I reviewed the Arrowverse, I would say pretty much from its entirety. I mean, everything from like, I didn't review the first season of Arrow while it was on, but I did it pretty much everything after that. So when it comes to nitpicks about quality, I think we've heard it all. I think we've heard it all. Like everything from bad VFX to bad acting to bad writing to bad directing to cinematography to soundtrack. Like if you stuck with us through the era of the CWDC TV shows, you'll know that I think we've heard every excuse in the book for why something isn't good. Right? I feel like we have. Would you agree with that?
Well, yeah, especially me to listen to you.
No. I was always right. It's just that's the way it was. That's not a lie. All right. So the complaints about Star Wars Acolyte is there was fire in space. That's one of the complaints. And I'm like, there's always been fire in space in Star Wars movies. Why is it a problem now? There's always been fire explosions in space.
I can give you the easy sum up with like it's as I said, the show or the first 2 episodes. I don't know if it's gonna be the show as a whole, so I don't want to say the show, but like the first 2 episodes of the show, they were mid. But that's the whole thing. They have to find some. Like I guess you have to find something.
That's the point I'm getting at here is that these complaints are extremely
because it wasn't offensively bad and it wasn't anything to write home about. You know, it's just something that was like,
Joey,
okay, it sets it up.
There has been fire in space in Star Wars. There just has.
Yeah, when I saw that on Twitter, I'm like, is this really what people are debating about?
Yeah.
Fire. I'm like, who cares? Like it's like you'd appreciate it. Like
there's also sound in space in Star Wars, which can't happen either, but no one's complaining about that.
There's what in space?
Sound. There's no sound in space. You can't hear anything. Oh, Joey, guess what's also not real? Lightsabers. The Force. Aliens. I mean, they probably are real. We just don't know them. There's a lot of things that you have to suspend disbelief for. Being upset that fire came out for a second in one movie and burned a little bit in a TV show is cope. It just is. Sorry. I mean, anyway, that's one of the complaints. The other one is that, do you remember the beginning of the episode where Indara was fighting against we didn't know who it was at that time, but spoilers here. Indara was fighting against May, and she gets stabbed by the dagger straight in the heart, and she dies.
R.I.P.
The complaint was that May left.
Well, you know my biggest issue about that scene was it had literally no suspense. You saw her bring out the second one behind her back. I'm like, oh my god! That was the issue. That's the issue I had with that scene. I was like, oh, what did she get stabbed by?
Do it or not? I mean, that was the suspense, was whether or not she was going to actually be able to kill her, because she could have been a badass and deflected both. You know what I mean? That could have happened. It's possible, because Carrie-Anne Moss is a big actor, and we didn't expect to see her go so quickly. I think that was the intention. I don't know if it was well done, but I think that was the intention of that, was that we have a big actor, first 5 minutes of the episode, what's going to happen? You know what I mean? That's what I think they were trying to do. You could argue whether or not they were successful on that, but I do believe that was sort of the thing. But the argument was that May didn't pick up the lightsaber. It was left on the ground. Now, for me as a viewer, that told me that there's a reason why. There's a reason why she did not pick up the lightsaber. There's some sort of either specifically ethical reason why she did it. You know, this is the beginning of the whole Sith thing or whatever. Huh?
Like an ideology on her part.
Right. That's what that told me. But then a lot of people were complaining, why did she leave the lightsaber? That's part of the mystery. That's part of the story.
Icky Jedi germs. I'm touching that.
I mean, if we were watching the Arrowverse shows and that happened back in 2014, 2015, I'd been like, why did she leave the lightsaber? But then as I become
but that's
more,
when you were like Marga, like
so look,
Marga.
but then I became more refined over the years, and I was like,
Well, no, it's because I talk sense into you. I'm like, just enjoy, just like.
I don't think you had anything to do
being
with
a
it, to be
bitch.
completely honest. I don't think you had anything to do with it.
I'm pretty sure I did. I think I actually made you cry once. I'm like, oh, okay.
But I was like, I'm more refined now. What if there's a reason why that lightsaber is not being picked up on the first episode? Maybe we'll wait as the season goes on and find out why she didn't pick up the lightsaber. Maybe there's a bigger story here, and we find out in the second episode that there is something going on with her not using a weapon because they reference it in the second episode. But we could just get mad about it and complain about that. It's just stuff like that. These are the kind of complaints I'm seeing to try and frame the show as being objectively bad, and it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's going to be an issue. This won't be the first one. Like, obviously, it does seem to hammer home a lot with the Disney Plus shows because it is a vendetta against the company. But as I said, like, the shows
just come out and say that, though. Like, if that's your issue, be like, I just don't like Disney, so I'm just going to shit on everything they do. Just say that, and then I got it, and then we're good. You don't have to jump around.
I don't know. Like, I'm a big, like, people can do what they want. Like, if people want to watch those channels, which were obviously if they're just lying and stuff like that or they're like, going out of the way and honestly being ridiculous from the nitpicking side, they can do that, whatever. Like, I'm fine with that. But I think the issue is that it does bleed over into like the overall outlook of the show rather than like a specific thing, or at least it bleeds over into the part.
Well, there's the review bombing shit too. Like, why review bomb it? Why?
Well, I don't really care. Like, I think with a TV show, it doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, I don't think it really matters too much. It's obviously more effective.
But that's my point, Paige. It doesn't ultimately matter. That's why I'm like, why even?
Because
bother?
Honestly, because people are fucking losers, Eric. So they'll go out of their way and do something that doesn't matter, whether it's on the glazing side or on the like. It's like they got nothing better to do, so they go do that. Like, that's just how it is nowadays.
Okay, that's fair enough.
But
so I guess we can wrap up this whole discussion by saying there's a bunch of losers out there that don't have anything better to do. Is that pretty much what it boils down to?
Well, I think also, like, obviously nowadays people are looking for a reason to be mad at stuff, or like, or everyone's a critic.
Yeah.
When the whole point is that there's a reason that being a critic is a job and being a fan is a hobby. Get that tattooed on your forehead, Eric.
Right, I was gonna say there. I mean, that pretty much wraps it up. All right, let's do some member chats and some super chats, and then we're gonna watch the Venom trailer because I think a lot of people want to see that with us. All right, so King of Lesbia, who's been a team member for 14 months, thank you so much for the support. Will you be watching Terminator anime in August on Netflix? There's a Terminator anime coming out. Is there a trailer for that?
Oh, I saw that yesterday. Was it yesterday on Twitter or something? And
if there's a trailer, we'll watch it. We will watch it today if there's a trailer.
Is that the one with Timothy Olyphant? Is that the same one or is that a different one?
I don't know.
I saw that he's like voicing the Terminator, but I don't know if it's in that thing. I'd assume so, because how many Terminator animated things would they be making? Twerk on.
There is a wait, hold on. I don't think there's an official trailer.
Just a fake one.
There's a fake one at the very top, of course. There's one that says Netflix Japan, but it doesn't have any actual like. It's like a. I hate these teasers where it's just words on the screen. There's no actual visuals.
Guess what's coming in August?
Yeah. I will probably watch it, but I don't know if it'll be something I'll review on my channel. We might talk about it on a live stream or something. Lone Wolf here, a team member for 43 months, says, what did you think of X-Men 97 now that it's over? I mean, I talked about it a lot before. I actually think it's the best X-Men thing we've ever had. It's better than the movies for me. It's better than the actual 90s X-Men cartoon. It's better than all the other cartoons that we had out there. It just did everything right in terms of like who the X-Men are in the comics translated into like an animated series. I really enjoyed it. I still think that it sets the bar really high for the second season, and we'll see what happens. Because I know Bo DeMeo wrote most of season 2. So season 2 should feel very similar to season 1. After that, I don't know. Because I think Disney wants to get 5 seasons out of it. Did you watch the whole thing yet? X-Men 97 or no?
Man, I've watched one episode.
Okay, well then, I was gonna ask your opinion, but you know what? Fuck you on that. Fuck you for not watching it. It's great. I can't believe you haven't watched it yet. Actually, I can. Why am I saying I can't?
I was gonna say, like, is it
Cody, who's a team member for 53 Butts, says the Acolyte is planned for 3 seasons, by the way. Yeah, I saw that as well. They're planning on doing 3 seasons. Now, I want to say that I think it's possible that they may not actually do, like, if they plan a show for 3 seasons and the first season just doesn't do well, that they can, there's probably a get out of jail card for that. Would you say that's true? Like, contractually, they can.
And also, if there's a thing, they can wrap it up in another show if they need to. Like, they can go, oh, by the way, randomly, this Mandalorian episode has a flashback episode, which ties up the Acolyte, or whatever reason that is.
Yeah. Arya is the best with a $2 super chat. Thank you so much. I honestly don't get the hate for the Acolyte. Well, I mean, like Paigey was saying, I mean, there's people that just don't have anything better to do. So there's a difference, okay? So the people that view that kind of content, there's probably a wide variety of reasons why they may tune into it. But the people that make it do it because YouTube promotes it.
I can tell you
That's
why. Like you know me, I'm neutral. I'm not into the quote unquote woke stuff like you, and I'm not into the whatever you call it, the anti woke stuff, like that culture war thing. I'm not into it. I think it's the lamest thing ever. Like on both sides, I'm like, shut the fuck up, both people.
Okay, well, go ahead.
But my thing with this is that I think, and I don't know if you would admit it, but I do think from what I've seen of those channels, which obviously go out of the way to spread what Arya is that a Game of Thrones reference?
Arya.
I don't know.
Yes, it's Game of Thrones.
Because isn't it Arya?
I'm assuming, regardless of that, I think it
anyway,
is. Anyway,
don't change the subject, Eric. Those channels that like on the hate side of it, they do present them, like the ones that I see are big, they present themselves pretty well to the point of, look, oh, if like some like 14-year-old goes in and is like, you know, maybe they didn't like something in the episode, they'll be convinced that like, oh, this is the right side to be on, or whatever, like that. Like they'll, because I think the videos are well presented. You mean like
the production quality of these videos or whatever are high quality.
You don't have someone like bumbling over the words or whatever it is. But I don't know, like I think I sent, I did, it was you. I sent that TikTok to you, and it was like that guy saying like,
I almost
do you remember the one?
Yeah, should we watch that? It's a really short TikTok. I'm gonna find that. Maybe we can watch that today.
Yeah,
it's funny.
I can't remember what he says.
Is
but
it the one about like, X-Men? It was the one about X-Men, right? Is that what it is?
It was like it's like your favorite YouTuber is a whatever or something like that. When you were 14, your favorite YouTuber was this.
Yeah, that's a good one. Let me see.
Like the thing is, my whole thing with it, like, I'm actually sort of fine if someone's like 14 or 15 or something and watching those type of things, because when I was like 14 or 15, some of the stuff that was on YouTube at that time or on the internet was fucked. Like it would get removed from YouTube nowadays. Like remember Filthy Frank? Thing like that. Do you remember Filthy Frank? That wouldn't like. I think the videos are still up there, but I think he'd probably get claimed nowadays.
Yeah, I do remember that. You're right. It's about Furiosa. It's only like a 1 minute and some second video. We'll watch it here in a second, but yeah.
Just some of the other stuff there, but like, yeah, like I think it's like well presented in a way where like someone that's like not in tune, if that makes sense, would get. I don't want to say dragged into it. That sounds a bit.
But I actually think that's where the problem lies on YouTube, is that they promote it too heavily. And I understand how the algorithm works. The video views, the similar tags with other channels that are doing the same thing, it all works that way. But YouTube has created a sort of environment for not only making a lot of money off of being hateful, but it's also created that's starting to reach out into other stuff. Like before it was kind of regulated to just YouTube, but now it's like if you go in comment sections of videos that other people are making, you're seeing those comments come into other people's videos. And it's like they're saying exactly what the hate channels are saying. I think that's the problem. YouTube needs to do more to sort of regulate that kind of stuff so that it isn't the only thing that people are finding. That's my issue with it. Again, I've said that from the beginning. That really is my biggest issue with it. The algorithm, the mysterious algorithm. Lone Wolf says, I figured you talked about it. I missed it due to work, and my daughter is going to be born on Tuesday, so a lot going on right now. Well, congratulations. So not congratulations about work, about your daughter. That's congratulations on that. Work is work. I get it. So King of Lesbia says, $5 super chat. Any team member says, will you be watching any more fan films? If so, Reverse Flash Origins, I think you may enjoy. Did I watch that one? I don't remember I don't think I watched that one. I did the Superman Solar thing.
That was awesome.
That was awful. I felt like after I got done watching that, I wasn't sure if it was the end of the world or not. And then I did the Spider-Man.
You get a hernia from watching that or something?
Maybe. The Spider-Man one didn't visually look really bad, but it wasn't a great movie. And there's all the drama behind the people that made it. I watched the Impulse thing, I believe. And the guy that made that actually commented on my video, even though I was kind of joking about the film, that they're making another one. So I might react to that one. I don't know. The reaction things were fun because the reason why it was so good is you can actually watch the fan films on YouTube without worrying about getting copyright strikes, because they can't own those the way, because you can make a fan film about the Flash, but you can't sell it, or
because they don't own the Flash.
Right. So I could react to it like an hour-long fan film of that and not have to worry about it, because they can't do that. I can't sell it or anything. So it's a situation where there's no problem doing that. I might check this out when I get a chance. I've been really busy with the summer and everything. So we'll see. If you guys want, actually, I'll put something like that in the community tab if anybody's interested in watching any more of those, and I'll get Paige to join me so he has to suffer through it as well. So there we go. So
they're gonna make me strap me down, and I have to watch it or something.
Well, you didn't even want to watch. What was it? The movie we were gonna watch and review, and you were like, I refuse to do it.
She's fucking Catwoman.
Oh, Catwoman.
Everyone wanted to watch that.
Yeah,
you've
all right.
bit into the troll cake, and never.
Let's. You got mad at me for even putting it up as an option. You're like, why did you put that up there?
And then everyone voted for it.
Yeah, well, because they knew it would make you mad. That was the whole
but then you were the one that got triggered, as per usual.
So, all right. So here is the trailer for Venom. If you're watching this on playback, this may be gone. just so you know, this may not be here because I don't remember if there's a song in it, and that's usually what does. I mean, I know there's a song, but I don't know if it's like a popular song that will get copyright strike. So let's watch Venom: The Last Day. I'll be honest, I didn't think this was actually coming out. I thought there's no way this movie's really coming out. Like, it's so close to release date, and we're just now getting promotion for it. So, all right, here we go. What do you think of that? Like that whole fight scene and stuff. I thought it looked really cool. Like what we saw of it.
Yeah, I mean that's always been like the positive side of the Venom movies. Even number 2, which was complete arse, was that.
Was it? Love for Carnage.
It was shit, Eric. Like don't.
I didn't say it was good. I'm just asking. I'm asking the question.
Like the Venom like action scenes and how they use the different powers and everything like that is usually pretty good. Like the VFX is usually pretty consistent with that.
But there is some kind of bad dialogue coming up, which is why I wanted to pause it. Also, I want to say, why is it that they have not like Eddie looks like he doesn't take a bath? Like he always looks just sweaty and gross, and you think we're the third movie. Like, give the man.
Maybe Venom doesn't like the shower.
Maybe, but give him an upgrade. Like, at least make him look like he took a bath. At the very least,
it's like that Twitch streamer that doesn't clean his room and has cockroaches.
Ooh, Asmongold, right? Yeah, I think that's who.
Yeah.
He said he thinks there's a dead animal in his.
Honestly, he could die in there, and they might take.
I mean, it looks like whenever I watch his videos, I'm like, how is this person so popular? I that one I truly don't get. Okay, here we go. All right, I want to pause there. I hate that. That was so bad.
I think that was made for the 5-year-olds.
That is just
no. This movie looks like it's probably R-rated. I don't know.
It is 100% R-rated.
So it's not for the 5-year-olds. It's for the I don't know. Fruit Loops.
And let me tell you why. It's not that it couldn't be funny, but we are 3 movies in. We should be watching a Venom that is like confident and they work well together one of my biggest complaints about the second Venom movie was we went backwards with him. We went backwards to where they were no longer on the same page, literally split and separated. And they came back together, and I thought we were cohesive and everything was working. And now we're showing again in this trailer the first time we see them together speaking, and they still have issues. And it wasn't that funny. But maybe there's a bit of the Venom audience that likes this stuff because the movies have made money. So anyway, it's Baron Mordo from Doctor Strange.
I was going to say Kinky Boots, but
so this pretty much confirms that they decided not to use this Venom in the MCU, because remember there was that whole thing like they were going to try and, Spider-Man No Way Home it, and use this Venom. This pretty much confirms that that's not going to happen, or at least not.
Would you appreciate a Kinky Boots cameo in this movie?
I absolutely would. I would appreciate a musical number. I want them to break out into song. Land of Lola. Let's do it. The whole thing. Just
Google Kinky Boots and you'll see why that reference is.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm okay with them keeping these things separated because I believe there's a rumor that the next Tom Holland Spider-Man trilogy is going to be based on the symbiote. So they're going to do something different, I'm assuming, with that. But yeah. This scene with them dancing, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, it looks fucking stupid.
I want to remind everyone that Venom was so weak to sound in the second movie that his cell phone ringing affected him. So when he went to that rave, which was my biggest complaint about that movie, like in general, that wouldn't bother me. I'd be like, okay, we have a character going to the rave, whatever, it's fine. But they had established that sound was one of his biggest weaknesses. And so to see him dancing with someone where they're probably playing music very loudly seems like it's going to be an issue. But anyway, let's continue. All right. So there we go. That's the trailer for Venom: The Last Dance. What are your thoughts, Paigey?
I mean, it looks like... I don't think I'll be going to theaters to watch it. That's to put it. But I think that horse is pretty cool. The horse.
I mean, they had to do something different. They pretty much covered all of the normal stuff we've seen in the first two movies. You know what I mean? Like in terms of symbiotes and everything. So they had to try something else, obviously.
And it was the second one where they did it. Where was it? The second one where they did the female Venom, or was that the first one?
It was the second one.
Okay, so they did in the second. They did Venom going to another person. So in this one, they're doing what if Venom was on an animal.
Yeah. Look, I'll be clear. I the first Venom I did enjoy, oddly enough, but I also thought it was very campy, and I didn't take it too seriously. If that makes any sense. The second one I thought went off the rails quite a lot. Like I said, the rave scene. I thought that Woody, as great as he is, wasn't great in that role. So was it if it was number one, then they did it so early. It might have been number one.
I couldn't remember. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, I don't know for sure.
I know it happened, but
I will say this. I was hoping, and I know this is one of those, we typically don't like when people do this. So I'm going to say it now since I didn't say it before, or maybe I did and I didn't talk heavily about it, but I was hoping that the success of No Way Home would have convinced Sony to reconsider Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man and including him as a character in this film as maybe the antagonist type character against Venom, to see them fighting and stuff like that. I thought that might be a good shot to do that, or something along those lines. So I'm a little bummed out because I forever and always, as far as I'm concerned, will be on Team Andrew Garfield for Spider-Man. I know some people like Toby. I get it. This is not me shitting on Toby because that was quote unquote my Spider-Man for a long time because of when it came out. But I really enjoyed Andrew as Spider-Man. I know the suit could have been a little bit better, but overall, I really liked it. I liked the tone of those films. I liked his Peter Parker. I really loved him as Spider-Man. No hate towards Toby or Tom Holland. But I thought this would have been the perfect opportunity to bring him back in after the success of No Way Home. And there's a rumor apparently that we're going to get another Spider-Man in the Sonyverse. I don't know if that's true or not. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm probably going to go see this in theaters only because I've seen the other two in theaters and might as well go ahead and do it. What?
You saw Madam Web in theaters, so
it's on Netflix now. If anybody wants to,
and I'm still not watching it.
Yeah. So Anthony says here, I don't want Andrew in this piece of shit universe. Look, I agree with that part of it, but I feel like they missed an opportunity to bring Andrew into like a Venom storyline because I know we're going to get it in Tom Holland's now. So Aisha says, I think it was number 1 because I can't remember She-Venom. Fair enough. Totally fair enough. I think you may be correct on that one. All right. Oh, really? These celebrities. I can't keep up with all of the drama and controversy surrounding celebrity. It feels like it changes every single day. Feels like it changes every day. I'm so
Wait,
lost.
and also, did Biden really poo his pants on stage?
I didn't even see. I say I didn't see it. I didn't read any of that. I am so over hearing about both of them that I'm like purposely not clicking on stuff.
I have to ask, do you think those two debates between them are going to be like some of the highest rated things of the year? Them two just yapping.
I don't know. I have no clue.
I can already see Trump's going to ask Biden if he's got his diaper on. Biden's going to say,
and then Biden's going to say, no, you have a diaper on because you're diapered on. Like, I mean, is that what we're going to turn into? Like, you're going to be watching it and laughing, and I'm going to be over here going, not again. Not again. All right, so let's watch this. The thing you sent me here. What are you laughing about?
Can we get a reaction, like a live rant and review on the debate?
No, we'll not be getting that. We'll not be getting that. Okay, so this is JC919. I don't know if that's the person who made the video because for some reason I couldn't watch. Remember, I had an issue watching this. Like I couldn't get the account for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
So I logged out of my account specifically to watch this because I didn't want to deal with that again. Okay, so this is a 1 minute and 20-second video, and it's a journey. So let's let's watch this because it's about Furiosa. Which, by the way, I'm still disappointed. And Paige, I know you loved it. That people did not give that movie a shot because it's genuinely a really great movie.
You just brought up Venom, and people will look at that trailer. It's clearly not going to be a very good movie, at least based off the trailer. But they'll go and spend the money on that and go see Venom. But then they go, I can't go see this. Like, make good movies and I'll spend my money. Meanwhile, I'll go see Venom.
And they skip Furiosa.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
That YouTuber you loved in middle school is an incel and a misogynist, and he's a loser on Twitter. This is a canon event for every male, I promise you. I get notifications from YouTube, and some of the videos, I'll be wondering why they notifying me about this, because this doesn't seem like something I want to watch, right? Woke Hollywood, women movies, bro. I don't want to watch content like this, dog. This seemed like some weird incel Twitter shit. And then I click on the fucking notification, and I see that I'm subscribed to them. At one point, I was watching this. At one point, I consumed brain rot, dog.
So that's, you know, what you said earlier about this. That means that people eventually either like go 100% into this stuff and there's no escape, or they grow out of it and forget that they ever even watch this stuff.
Yeah,
like
because here's the thing. Everyone goes through that edgy phase, whether you do it when you're 13, whether you do it when you're 16, whether you do it when you're in your early 20s. Everyone goes through an edgy phase, especially in modern day, especially internet age. Everyone has their edgy phase, whether they're watching racist stuff, whatever it is, they do it.
But either way, you're gonna see it either way. That's the point. You're gonna
people
see
deny
it.
They are lying, because whether it's on something where it's just edgy in some way, shape, or form, it's always the case. Whether it's
impossible to
or
avoid
your
it.
friends watch it, or you
Yeah.
hear someone at school talking about it, or work, whatever it is. People go through it.
because
Can't deny it, but
Paige,
it's
the
not-
thing is, if you see it, even if you don't agree with it, you're going to be like, can you believe what this person said? And then you're
Yeah.
going to show the person.
And you got to grow out of it, and then you later go back and go, wait, I watched that shit, or like I found that funny, and you don't really find it funny nowadays, or like you don't really understand why it would be funny, or
And then you're watching you're watching people my age who are like, women are the problem with everything.
Yeah,
It's like, what
I
the
think-
fuck are you even talking about?
Side note, I think that's the biggest concern, is that everyone that is these incel YouTubers and stuff are like minimum like mid-30s. Most of them
Yeah.
probably in their 40s.
So, let's watch the rest of this. It's pretty funny.
Case in point, The Quartering. Woke Hollywood panics and suffers worst box office failure in 30 years, and Furiosa tanks. Female reboot disaster. Buddy, Furiosa was literally in the last Mad Max movie. This is a prequel. What the fuck are you yapping about? Destroys Lizzo. Fat positivity. U.S. healthcare in Ozempic. This is what he looks like. This is what The Quartering looks like. Lizzo? Body positivity? Ozempic? Huh? This is the same guy who posted 3 videos about McDonald's in a 2-day time span. What is your obsession with Mickey D's, my boy? Yo, look at this, bro. What is your obsession with McDonald's? I promise you the McNuggets are still gonna be here. Chill out.
So anyway, that was the video. I thought it was hilarious because, we spend so much time, I think, obviously, being concerned with what's happening on YouTube with these kinds of channels. But it always makes me feel better when I see a video where somebody is being super rational about it and going, this is just brain rot bullshit. And I used to watch it and I don't watch it anymore. Because then you realize that maybe a lot of the people, it's like a conveyor belt. You know what I mean? Like people are watching it and then they jump off the conveyor belt. And then there's like a new set of people that come in and they're like, oh, I'm going to watch these videos. So that's always helpful. But the way he talked about quartering was hilarious. Like, look at this person who is trying to talk about culture. You know what I mean? Like, it's hilarious. So I don't know if that person makes other videos like that, but yeah, that was kind of interesting. Let's continue talking about woke shit because you love it, Paigey.
You know,
You don't even watch the show, but I thought this comment was kind of funny. And the series is coming out soon, so I figure it's worth pulling this up and giving it a shot. So have you watched The Boys at all? Like, I know you watched the first season, but you said that you didn't watch like after that or whatever.
no, I think
Are you caught up on it?
I'm caught up.
Okay.
I think I
Well, Eric Kripke was talking about an interview. It's a really long interview. We're not going to go over the whole thing, but it's worth a read if you are interested in his thoughts on the upcoming season. But he had this to say. This is one of the quotes. They were talking about like Homelander being a hero. Some people say Homelander was their hero, which is a lack of media literacy because the character is definitely not a hero. But he says, anyone who wants to call the show woke or whatever, that's okay. Go watch something else, but I'm certainly not going to pull any punches or apologize for what we're doing. And what I think is interesting about this is, and this goes with the whole South Park thing, it goes with pretty much Family Guy, any of these shows. I don't think they plant their foot on either side of the aisle. I think the shows do a good job of picking the extreme takes and mocking them of everything, right? I mean, I feel like that's what they do. That's what satire is.
Yeah, and I mean, The Boys isn't that. I mean, in season 1, it was a bit more subtle, which is why I sort of like wasn't.
You prefer
like,
season 1, right?
I prefer season 1 because it's way more subtle with its satire. But I think that's also an issue because people thought it was this anti-woke show when it wasn't. It was clearly like this message thing where it attacked both sides. Like we brought up South Park as well. I mean, have you not seen when they do like the reality shows and stuff on The Boys and stuff, and they mock like how like modern media and everything like that and how they go about things, like and even just like the business side of stuff as well. Like they attack both sides. But I think the fact that the satire isn't even subtle past season 2, maybe season 2 is a bit more fair in it, but especially the most recent season, like I don't know how you can like it goes over people's heads and people like because people think the show is anti-woke.
Well, yeah, and it also depends on who you talk to. Like I think the boys,
They
there's
go
a
like
modern.
they go
Go
like,
ahead.
oh, I'm not watching the Disney Plus show anymore because it's gone too woke. I prefer the
Mhm.
boys, and I'm like,
Right.
You a
I
fucking
think there's a
idiot.
thing. There's a thing with modern media, and I've talked about this with multiple friends of mine, and there's very few people that you should be rooting for in these shows. You know what I mean? Like everyone has some skeletons in their closet. Everybody's done some shit. And you sort of have to go, who is the least problematic person? Or who do I identify with the most when I'm watching the show so that I can understand the reason why they're doing what they're doing? Because they hold this microscope up to, like, everybody seems to be sort of a pastiche of a certain portion of the community. Like if you look at Homelander as a character isn't super different from, some of the other sort of Superman villains we've had on the surface. Like he's got all the powers, he's got an ego, he thinks he's unstoppable. Like this is typical stuff that we see with derivative type characters. But then you look into like his personality, like what is he outside of that? Who is he when he's not flying around doing things? And then you start to build those layers. And what they do is they take elements from culture and they sort of combine it into a person. So everybody on the show, if you look at like the Seven and then all of the adjacent characters, they literally are just a demographic compiled into a person. Does that make any sense? Like they try and make these characters feel like a well-rounded version of a particular community.
yeah,
At least on the boys. And so what you're getting like a snapshot of what the writers think those people represent. And so depending on who you identify with on the show kind of explains how you see the community you're a part of. So if you see Homelander as your hero,
well, because if you look at
I'm
it,
just saying, like if you see this character as your hero, there's
but if
some
you look
stuff
at it,
happening.
you got A-Train, who's like the overly endorsed athlete and the problems around that. Then you have Starlight,
Yep.
which is like the young.
She was going to be
star
sexualized, and then she
yeah,
decided
she's like
not
the
to
young
be,
star
and
in
then she
Hollywood
decided
where
to
she's
be,
like exploited. Then they go through
social
different,
media person,
Yeah.
like advocate stuff,
Yeah.
activist type character.
And then-
yes,
and then you have Homelander, who I guess is meant to be this like, I don't know if you want to use the term political, but like, like patriotic style character. And then you have the Deep, who is this, once again, sort of falls in the line, sort of similar to Starlight to an extent in regards to like the publicity and everything like that, and the downfall. And I don't know, like I do struggle. Like I know we talk about media literacy all the time, and that people just aren't tapped in. But then they'll be the first person to complain about fire in space. But
right.
I really struggle how to see that someone would that reference I used before, like, oh, I'm not watching this
Right.
Disney Plus show because it's too woke, and then they watch the boys and say,
Well, I'm just gonna say this: I don't think that anybody on the boys is the quote unquote good guy. I think everybody on the boys has done some shit where I'm like, I'm not co-signing any of their checks.
The best
Any
thing
of
that
them.
the boys does is that every character has maybe reasons that you would cheer for them. Like there's even reasons where you're like, okay, I sort of want Homelander to achieve what he's doing here. Not that much, not that much, but there's bits there. But there's also flaws to every single character.
I'm curious,
like, no
in the
character is
chat,
perfect.
let me know which character on the boys has the least amount of blood on their hands. I would love to know who everyone thinks is the moral center of the show. Because people would say Starlight, but she's not necessarily done
She's not
great things
clean
either.
skin. Yeah, she's not a clean skin.
Yeah, so I'm curious which characters you think are the moral center of the boys. This should be a good one. I'm very curious. So remove that there. But yeah, I've already seen the videos of Eric Kripke, the creator of the boys, attacks the fans. Just as if the actual show itself doesn't address that. So people are saying Mother's Milk, Huey.
You'd argue Huey, but Huey's also a bit of a bitch as well. Like especially some of the earlier seasons, like, and he's being a bit.
And they've all
kind of
lied.
annoying.
Every character on the
Yeah.
show has lied. So, so Cody says, you see the update on Gen V. I know that they hired someone else on the show, but I haven't seen anything else since then. Starlight, Huey. I mean, there's certain characters that I think we're supposed to believe are the best characters. But I personally don't think anybody on the show is devoid of being controversial, personally. But that's just me. All right. Darth Vader says, do you think the soup virus is a season 2 plot or something else will be the end of it all? I think the soup virus plot is carrying over into the boys. I think that storyline is going over to the boys, and that season 2 of Gen V will cover something else, most likely. But I don't know for sure. Not 100%. But see, here's the thing: like Soldier Boy, you should not be rooting for Soldier Boy because of who Soldier Boy is. Like, look at the stuff he was doing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it makes it, as a viewer, it forces you to make a moral decision based on what a more realistic depiction of the world is, albeit extreme, obviously extreme. But when, like, it's like with anything, you're picking sometimes the lesser of two evils and not necessarily the best person. Or you're going, which one of these two bad things is the least problematic for me as an individual? You know what does that make any sense to say that? Like, which one would I be okay with in reality? Like, yeah, that's the way I feel about it. But what did it say? Darth Bunyan. I think it's just the boys, Darth, as far as the suit virus or whatever. Gwendolyn says, do I need to watch all of Gen V before the new season of Boys? Do you think stories from Gen V will be in the Boys' new season? Well, one of the main things that we just talked about is part of Gen V, but I don't know if you will have to, like, if I'd seen the first episode of the new Boys season, I could tell you, but I don't know for sure. Gen V is very different from the Boys. It's more like a superhero school story. So it's like the X-Men or like a Teen Titans thing. But obviously in the darkest reality ever, to be honest. All right. So last thing we're going to talk about is that Robert Downey Jr. has said he is open-minded about returning to the MCU. And I've seen people say that they should bring him back and all this other stuff. What are your thoughts on that? On bringing back people that have literally been cashed out, checks paid on the MCU?
I don't know. I mean, if it's meant to be like for good in regards to where, oh, here's the next Iron Man trilogy, then no, because I mean that's come and gone. I mean, if he came back in a movie and he was playing like another Earth multiverse version that's just very similar to the one that we had in the other movies, fair enough. Like if it's in that Secret Wars thing or whatever it is, then fair enough. Especially if they know that it's gonna bring people into that specific movie or increase the box office or whatever it is. But I don't know. But I think it really does speak to, because I think it's hard. I think it's hard to debate against it, but I don't think Marvel did a really good job transitioning from that. From Endgame
into like Phase 4, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like of course, like COVID happened and everything like that, and then of course maybe they thought the Disney Plus thing would be more successful than it has been. But I don't know. I think it's just that like the Marvel didn't handle that transition that well, and I don't think any of the obviously it doesn't help that like the new Captain America isn't. Well, the movie doesn't come out till for like 8 months or whatever it is. Like,
it's a while away still,
and like it's been already 5 years since Endgame, and going on 3 years since his series, if not more, 4 years or whatever it is.
Right.
So that doesn't help. So I think people just want stuff that they know they'll like. Though at the same time, it's just like we were just talking about how those Disney Plus series obviously haven't been that popular. So people aren't watching them. So
yeah, the issue is though that I agree here that like bringing back the actual Tony that we know would undermine everything they did.
I don't think they would do that anyway. I think if they did anything, it
But
would
Quinlan
be like
says bring an alternate universe Tony, and that would make it work. And I think that's ultimately
the workaround with that is if they do Secret Wars, and then after that, it's like a best of the best stays around. Probably because that's why they're probably going to work the Fantastic Four into being consistent in this universe. Then does that mean that Tony Stark stays along?
Oh, somebody's at my front door.
It's me.
Is it?
Low jokes.
It looks like Earth 2 Pagey.
Can you see the eye patch? Oh no, I had a helmet. I think I had two Pagey had a helmet.
You have a helmet, yeah. So
you had an eye patch, I had a helmet.
True that. But I saw a lot of people saying they want a reboot of the MCU or whatever. And I'm like, no, I don't want that either. I don't want to see the same stories being retold again so soon. Like, I just don't want to see that.
The biggest thing with Marvel though is that they're on the brink of like maybe people stop talking about that because they got the Fantastic Four. They're about to do. Some would say they're finally doing a proper Spider-Man trilogy with him in New York City and everything like that. Then you got Blade, and then you got the X-Men coming in. But people are so impatient nowadays, and they can easily just go on and turn on Endgame and go like, "Oh, I want more of this," or whatever it is. I don't know. Marvel has to. I think Marvel has to do like a really good job with this next thing, especially.
I think the issue is that Marvel had one of the biggest things that Marvel had going for it was a consistent hit for fans. And what I mean by that is you knew we're getting this many movies a year. You knew we were going to get this many shows. You knew that those things were going to happen. And then COVID came around and that fucked everything up. It threw everything into a tailspin. And so promotional cycles were wonky. The direct to streaming stuff didn't work. There were so many issues with that it exacerbated any of the quality problems with these movies and TV shows. Like, you're going to have quality control issues with everything, even when something is quote unquote perfect. There's going to be something that is going to be an issue. But when you combine that with just every other thing that goes against it, because think about this, DC, I think one of the big issues with DC was inconsistency in release schedules. I think that was a problem. I think changing things around was a problem for them, like changing movies, changing release dates and stuff like that. I think all of that was an issue. Marvel didn't have a lot of that. Marvel was very consistent. When they announce something, this thing does eventually come out. And we've seen that not be the case pretty much since Black Widow. And that was all because of the whole COVID thing. So I think that there's a inconsistency on releasing and stuff like that Marvel did not anticipate. They have not been able to recover since that. That's what I think the problem is. I truly do. And add on the streaming issues with like the way they made their shows. I think the shows could have been done with proper showrunners. They should have been curated a little bit better. I think for me, the biggest mistake that Marvel has made to date is expecting the TV show characters to be as popular as the movie characters. That's what I think their biggest mistake is. And I'm not talking about the ones that go from movies to TV shows. I'm talking about the ones that come from TV shows into movies. I think there was a little bit of delusion happening there, and they weren't looking at the numbers correctly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because I like Ms. Marvel. I also like WandaVision. I think they're both great. But does that put them at the level of Captain Marvel, $1 billion movie? I don't think so. In terms of like,
yeah, they didn't do any favors to the two other characters, and then they also like stunted a proper Captain Marvel sequel.
Yeah, I think that was a stumble. And having that kind of conversation in the more like grifter tube space is all like the problems are always coming down to like the diversity and all that or whatever. I just think there was an issue with the structure of that movie, and that was kind of the final thing for Marvel for them to go, we need to shift. And
well, I think it's also a big thing to remember that like Feige's not a TV guy. There's a heavy difference between knowing how to do TV properly and how to do movies properly. Like there's a completely different thing. A movie producer and a TV producer are different. There's not many people that cross it. Like the only person I can think of who does it consistently well is, I mean, Jerry Bruckheimer does a pretty good job with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, arguably Spielberg. I think Spielberg's attached to like maybe like someone like that. I mean, it's hard, and even then, they're like sometimes just they attach their name to it. They're not actually properly developing it.
Right.
So like I don't know. And then isn't the guy that runs the Marvel TV stuff? He was a movie guy. Like he was working with Marvel and the MCU for like a couple of years, and then they just delegated him to TV stuff.
Yeah. They said that most of the people, or pretty much all the people running the Marvel TV shows, were just movie people. So
yeah, and but now they've and obviously that is probably where they made this misstep of not actually having showrunners, because that's like.
Daredevil is going to fix that, so we'll see how that works.
Now they've fixed that, so we'll hopefully see if that works. But yeah, I know.
So we got one more super chat here, and that's from Naruto, $5 super chat, and a team member, channel member here. 3 episodes of The Boys drop next week. I'm excited about that. I'm obviously going to be reviewing that as well. So make sure you guys look out for that, and that will be the first week of the weekly Geekly. So we need to figure out what day we're going to do it. I will talk to everybody in the green room, and we'll figure it out. That will be exclusively on the Eric's Reloaded channel. So if you want to watch that, that's where that'll be. So anyway, we'll see. Maybe I'll split it up over 2 channels as well. We'll see how that works. But are you going to watch this season of The Boys, Paigey, or no?
I don't know. I'll wait and see. I've been trying to like catch up on all the movies that I wrote down that I wanted to watch and stuff. So I've been like slowly trying to get through them because I hate sitting down for too long. Like in regards to like I couldn't sit there and watch 3 movies in a row. Right. So like, and then like some days you just don't want to be staring at a screen. So like, or at least like the TV screen. So I've just been trying to do that. But that's why like I wasn't even going to watch The Acolyte, for example. And I thought I'm not doing anything. It's too early to go to bed. I'll watch it.
Well, thank you for the super chat, Naruto. So Lightning Bolt here says, have you seen the new Superman casting? It's just that one, right? Is there another one that I...
No, there's 3, I guess.
Was it 3?
Yeah. Like Daily Planet, bullpen cast, characters.
Let's see here. So it says here, this is Ron Trope, is one of the reporters in the newsroom, portrayed by Christopher McDonnell, I guess, is the... Who is Ron Trope? I don't even know who that is.
He's just a reporter in the Daily Planet.
Yeah, but is it any... I don't mean to diminish it or whatever, but is he anybody important? Like, is he somebody from the comics that
not really? Like the movie didn't have to have him, if that makes sense. Okay, but you could argue that with a bunch of the other characters that are cast as well.
It says Michaela Hoover has been cast as Cat Grant. That one's kind of interesting. I feel like the TV Cat Grant is so memorable. We'll see. I don't know. Let's see. And Beck Bennett has been cast as a notable reporter. Notable reporter. All right. I'll look at this picture of Cat Grant, the person playing Cat Grant here, because I just don't see it, but we'll see. This is the new Cat Grant. So it's Steve Lombardi is the person he's playing?
No, it's Dave Lombard. He's like the sports.
Lombard. Oh, wait, was he on Supergirl or no?
No, he was in Man of Steel.
Was he?
Yeah, probably wouldn't remember. He was like the guy from
This
House
is what
of
I'm
Cards.
saying. Like, I don't even know these characters. So
I can't remember the actor. David Kelly or something. His name is something Kelly. I think the actor's name is. He was in House of Cards, but he played Steve Lombard.
Obviously, Cat Grant I'm familiar with, but
isn't Cat Grant like meant to be like not ridiculously attractive and just sort of be like very come on to Clark Kent?
Let's see. Yeah.
Michael Kelly, that's the actor's name. He was something Kelly.
So all the pictures I see of Cat Grant from the comics is like this blonde bombshell character, pretty much.
People are blowing up about this because she's James Gunn's friend.
Oh,
This is the one I was talking about where people are blowing up because she also did the voice of the bunny. Was it a bunny in Guardians? Because it was the otter, but that was Linda Cardellini.
Yeah. I mean, she could play the bombshell part of it, but they're gonna have to change her hair color. I'm sure people are gonna freak out. But maybe they don't though. They don't have to do that. Maybe they'll just
probably rock that and be fine.
Whatever. So, all right. Well, that's it for like actors, or whatever. I'll be honest. These are other than Cat Grant. I don't really care about.
They're whatever. Like they're like I don't think. I think no one actually really cares that much. Yeah. They're probably going to only be in a handful of scenes.
Pretty much. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Thanks everybody for coming into the stream today and joining us. Let's see here. Make sure I got everything. Yeah, I got all the super chats, all the channel chats. Anyway, I'll see everybody. The next stream I do will probably be just a regular live stream on one of the two channels. I don't know which one it's going to be because I have a really busy week, but make sure you've got notifications on, all the AI down all there to get it demonetized. Make sure you have notifications turned on, and that's pretty much it. Oh, there we go. There's another one. And I will see everyone in the next stream. Have a very, very good Saturday evening.
Oh.